So in this lesson, we'll be looking at movies and genre of movies. So we'll be going through the different types of movies and I'll be showing you some examples of well-known movies related to that genre. So let's go ahead and get started. I hope you have a great lesson and let's begin. So what are the goals of this lesson? We have two goals listed. Goal number one is to understand genres of movies and understand descriptive words for genres of TV programs. Okay, it's very important to know that movies are based on different categories, and we're going to go into more details about that in slide 3. So I want you to take a look at the goals once more. Once you are done, we're going to go ahead and get started on slide 3. So we now are on slide 3. So we have 7 genres of movies listed. You might know some of them and you might be maybe more familiar with one more than another. Let's go through the genres. Number 1 is animation. Number 2 is comedy. Number 3 is documentary. Number 4 is fantasy. Number 5 is horror films. Number 6 is science fiction films. And number 7 is thriller. So I've listed the 7 different genres of movies. Again, I'm going to go through the words once more. 1, animation. 2, comedy. 3, documentary. 4, fantasy. 5, horror. 6, science fiction. And last but not least, number 7, thriller. Let's go ahead and look at some of the examples of very popular movies related to these genres. Let's go ahead and get started on slide number 4. Let's take a look at these 2 examples of animation movies. You might know some of them and you might not be so aware of some. For animation, there are 2 popular ones listed. Over here we have Shrek, which is one of my personal favorites and that I really enjoy watching. And then we have Finding Nemo. So if we look at Shrek and Finding Nemo, animations are an advanced version of a cartoon. So we have Shrek and we have Finding Nemo. These are 2 prime examples of very popular animation movies. Okay, people still watch them until this day. And I'm sure most of you know that Shrek has Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Shrek 3 and 4. There's quite a few of them. And Finding Nemo also has many movies as well after number 1. Now looking at comedy movies. Again, just like I did in the previous slide, I gave you guys 2 prime examples of very popular comedy movies. So for example, Mr. Bean is one, and then we have The Grinch. So comedy movies are meant to make you A, laugh, B, cry, or C, get scared. What do you guys think? The correct answer is A. So comedy movies are meant to make you laugh, they're meant to be enjoyable, and they are meant to be fun. Okay, ladies, so they're meant to be enjoyable, they're meant to make you laugh, and they're meant to give you a good time when you watch it. Let's go ahead now and look at documentary. We have documentary. So you might be thinking to yourself, what is a documentary? A documentary is usually based on real life situations and scenarios, speaking about the past, present, and the future. Ladies, don't forget when we mention the term documentaries, it can also be about someone's life. It can be about past events, important historical events. It can be about nature. It can also be about animals. For example, I've given you guys a nice example over here. We have Saving Our Planet. Okay, this was a very popular documentary that came out on Netflix, and it was focusing on global warming and polar bears. And it gave details and it gave specific studies and information that was giving the audience, us, um, information about how polar bears are living and what global warming is doing to the planet. Okay, let's go ahead now and look at fantasy. So we now have our next genre. We have slide 7, which is about fantasy. So when we say the word fantasy, it usually means another world, another place, something that isn't, of course, true. However, these are known as fantasy films. We have a very popular one here called Snow White and the Huntsman, and then we have one called Sandman. So Snow White and the Huntsman is what we would call a fantasy film, meaning that it takes us into a whole different world and it gives us a reality that is not, of course, in real life. This is why it's also known as fantasy. We're now going to move on to slide 8, where things get a little bit scary. Now, slide 8 genre is called horror. Okay, so this genre I do not like myself. I don't really like to watch horror films. When you watch a horror film, does it make you feel scared? Does it make you feel happy? So when you are watching a horror film, is it a scary film or is it like a comedy film? I'm going to give you 2 seconds to go ahead and think about that. Okay, great. So the answer is correct. Okay, it does make you scared. So usually horror films are scary. They might make some people laugh, but most of the time they are made to scare people and to make people not really laugh, but maybe in some situations even cry. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to our next slide. Slide 9. We have science fiction. Okay, so science fiction, I've put in 2 examples. We have one, Stranger Things, and then we have another example, which is a very popular and well-known science fiction movie called Alien. One of my favorites is actually Stranger Things. I find it to be exciting. I find it to be a little bit scary, not too scary. However, I do enjoy science fiction myself. And science fiction is usually based on aliens and space, so on and so forth. Okay, if you haven't watched Stranger Things, I would definitely recommend that you watch it. Now, let's go ahead and move on to activity 10. Okay, ladies, so now we have thriller. Now, you might be thinking, what is a thriller movie? A thriller movie usually keeps you excited. You want to watch until the end to see what's going to happen. So, a thriller movie will keep you on the edge of your seat, and it can be a cross between sometimes horror and action, or it can just be action and thriller mixed together. So thriller does cover a lot of ground when it comes to movies. I've given you guys 2 over here. Den of Thieves is one of my personal favorites. You want to watch more, you can't wait to see what happens next, and it's just a very interesting watch. Okay, ladies, so again, go through the genres one more time, take a look, and maybe what you can do is you can write down some of your favorite movies from each category, so you can always come back and reference the different types of genres of movies. Thank you very much for today's lesson. Have a great day.